Good morning and welcome to today's webinar on leadership development through mentoring. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Karen Zukas and I am your moderator for this webinar brought to you by the Immigrant Employment Council of BC. For those of you who may not know us, the Immigrant Employment Council, also known as IEC-BC, is a provincial non-government organization that stimulates the integration of skilled immigrant talent into the province's workforce. You can find out more about who we are and what we do by visiting us at www.iecbc.ca. This webinar is a third in a new series, and it focuses on the business advantages of mentoring as a low-cost, no-cost talent acquisition and leadership development program. You will hear how you can enhance your organization's leadership, coaching, and cultural competency skills through mentoring from two BC employers who have successfully integrated our immigrant employment mentoring program into their HR and professional development strategies. You will also hear how IEC-BC's mentoring program that brings job-ready new Canadians together with local established professionals, how it helps organizations enhance their workplace coaching skills and cultural competency skills. This series is made possible through funding from the Government of Canada. If you're having any technical difficulties today with accessing this webinar, please call GoToWebinar. The number is noted on the chat section of this webinar for easy reference. Today we will be hearing from Cindy Laporte, HR Manager at TELUS, Peter Judd, retired General Manager of the Engineering Department with the City of Vancouver, and Opreet Kang, Manager of Global Connections with IEC-BC. First, we are going to hear from Cindy Laporte as she highlights the ROI of the Immigrant Employment Mentoring Program that TELUS has implemented internally within their organization. Following Cindy's presentation, Peter Judd will speak about his experience and benefits of the Immigrant Employment Mentoring Program that the City of Vancouver has implemented. Last but not least, Opreet Kang will give a quick overview of the employer benefits of IEC-BC's Mentor Connect program, and she will be speaking about it as it relates to TELUS and the City of Vancouver who have implemented the program. As well, our presenters will respond to your questions during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar presentation. Please feel free to send us your questions to the area provided at any time during the webinar by typing them into the question box on the right. I would now like to introduce you to our first speaker, Cindy Laporte. Cindy has been with TELUS for 28 years and is currently an HR manager supporting mergers, acquisitions, and integrations across various business units. Additionally, Cindy is the national prime for their Mosaic team member resource group and focuses on partnering with the community to attract and retain multicultural top talent. Cindy is also the chair of the board of directors for the Edmonton Regional Immigrant Employment Council, our sister organization in Edmonton. Cindy, over to you.
Thanks very much for that great introduction, and good morning to everybody on the WebEx. It's a pleasure to be here today and share the success that we have had at TELUS with our mentorship program and our team member resource group that we call Mosaic. On this next slide, I just want a few of the items that I'd like to work with you today on are who is Mosaic and what are the benefits that TELUS has experienced from the program. And we'll talk a little bit about at the end about how you can get started or some things that you can consider if you're going to venture into a mentorship program. On the next slide is an introduction to our Mosaic team member resource group and our vision and strategic priorities. Internally, we are focused on ensuring that we have engaged team members. We have a very diverse workforce, and to support our D&I initiatives, we have launched 6 team member resource groups, one of which is our Mosaic team member resource group, which is a multicultural group. The overarching vision and mission is to unleash the power of TELUS multicultural talent to drive leadership in the likelihood to recommend for our customers, our team members, and our communities. We've identified 3 pillars to help us drive this from Mosaic. The first one is our likelihood to recommend, and we do this by connecting with our multicultural team members in our community, which links to our corporate strategies of elevating our winning culture for sustained competitive advantage, with the world's most engaged team striving to consistently delight our customers and giving compassionately to the communities where we live, work, and serve. Secondly, we're looking to foster a culture of engagement internally by providing opportunities for our team members to become aware of Mosaic and the initiatives that we have. Our recent National Speed Mentoring event allowed us to significantly raise awareness of Mosaic and, more importantly, our mentorship program. Senior leaders from across TELUS made themselves available to mentor TELUS team members through a 20-minute table discussions where they talked about their careers and success and some tips for team members. Lastly, our external awareness program, our goal is to partner with multicultural communities to attract and retain top talent. Our flagship program is the External Mentorship Program, where we've partnered with immigrant employment councils such as IEC-BC across 5 major cities in Canada. This program provides learning and growth opportunities for our team members and at the same time allows us to give back to the communities. I want to focus on the External Awareness Program and how the mentorship program has benefited TELUS and our team members. On the next slide, we see the benefits to TELUS and our team members. We implemented mentoring programs, as I mentioned, across 5 major cities, and we've had excellent success, especially here in Vancouver with IEC-BC. The program is supported by a local prime who works directly with IEC-BC to set up the mentorship program and to communicate with TELUS mentors as needed. The mentorship program takes about 4 months or 16 hours, and although this may seem like a long commitment, the payback is so worth it. The program provides team members opportunities to develop leadership skills such as coaching, planning, communications, networking, collaboration. We have customized career development plans as part of our performance development, and every team member that is a mentor is asked to make sure that they're documenting their success within this program as well. It's a low-cost as no-cost learning opportunity for our employers, as it only requires the time to support the program. Mosaic supports workplace diversity and awareness across the company, allowing for a respectful workplace and for more internal career pathing as a result of a much greater understanding of the existing skills that we have within TELUS. Although the program is not intended, nor is there an expectation for TELUS to hire the mentees that we have, it does provide us access to highly skilled candidates. Mentees have more awareness of what TELUS has to offer as an employer of choice, and we can link the mentee to suitable positions now or in the future. We have been successful in hiring some mentees, which has turned out to be a win-win situation for our mentee and for TELUS. The programs that Mosaic offers assist us to increase employee engagement. TELUS is proud to be recognized as a world leader with an employee engagement score of 85%. One of our current programs that we're working on during the month of June is our Taste of TELUS, and this is where nationally hundreds of team members will come together to share their multicultural favorite dishes, if you will, and we all know that food brings everybody together and creates a great networking opportunity. We also provide opportunities for team members to give back to the community through volunteering as a mentor, and nationally visibility for TELUS with linkage to our brand. As you can see, we've been very successful year over year with our achievements with the Canadian Best Diversity Employer and Best Employer for New Canadians. The quote that I've left here is a quote from one of the original mentors that we had in our program, probably back in about 2010, and we see this time and time again. The mentor left us with this quote: "Mentoring helped me to understand my own multicultural team and to appreciate the simple things that we take for granted. My modest investment of time has returned professional rewards for my mentee, myself, and my company." I find this to be a very, very powerful quote. On the next slide are some questions that you can consider if you're going to get started with a mentoring program. Based on the learnings that we've had, I recommend having an executive sponsor, which will allow you to gain more visibility within your company and buy-in for the program. I recommend that you obtain this sponsor early as well. Since we obtained our executive sponsor, we've been able to gain much more exposure to other senior leaders, and we've seen a significant shift in our momentum. Funding, as we know, can be a challenge, as it seems these types of programs are not always budgeted for, or they are tasks that many of us are doing on the sides of our desks. If you have a Diversity and Inclusiveness Council, you can ask them for support. That's part of where Mosaic rolls up into at TELUS. And if you have leaders that are willing to assist with various events throughout the year, those are ways that you can find funding for the program. If you've prepared your vision and your strategic priorities, like we looked at a few slides ago, and that's important that it links to your corporate priorities and for your employees. So you want to be clear on how the program is going to help your employee development and how does it link back to your company as well. Communicating out to the membership as well is key. Some items that we found very helpful are monthly newsletters, social media, various events throughout the year, like I mentioned, our Taste of TELUS that's coming up and our Speed Mentoring event, partnering with other groups that may have already been established within your company, and working with your Immigrant Employment Council to host open houses regarding the mentorship program. We've also implemented a recognition program which assists us in driving employee engagement. We've arranged for certificates to be presented by the mentors' managers, and this has worked very well, as it's also a reminder to the manager about the program and to see the success that their team member has had with the program. So if you have if you have employee development plans where managers are meeting, really important to have them recognize the success as a mentor. And the last quote that I'll leave you with is, the Mosaic Mentorship Program helps me understand what challenges immigrants face, and this is helpful when learning how to communicate with colleagues and team members who have recently moved from a different country. On the final slide, I just want to thank you for inviting TELUS to be a part of the session today, and I'll look forward to any questions, and if you can always reach out to me directly as well. Thank you, Karen.
Great. Thank you, Cindy, for that presentation on how TELUS has enhanced your leadership coaching and cultural competency skills through mentoring. Move on now to our next presenter. I'd like to turn it over to Peter Judd, who will talk about the benefits he has experienced with one of the City of Vancouver's mentoring programs, Mentor Connect, that matches job-ready immigrants with a city staff employee who provide occupation-specific coaching over a 4-month period. A little bit about Peter. He graduated from civil engineering at UBC in 1982 and worked for the City of Vancouver for more than 33 years in the city's engineering department, working up to General Manager of Engineering Services in 2010 before recently retiring, in fact, just retiring. So we're really pleased that Peter could join us today. Over the years, Peter became known for organizational development, change management, and innovation needed to help build one of the most livable and sustainable cities in the world. Peter, I'll turn it over to you now for the next portion of the webinar.
Great, thank you, Karen. In terms of mentoring, I'm really pleased to be able to be part of this webinar today. Because I think mentoring is such an important thing for people to do. It takes a relatively small investment in time, but has a real payoff. And well, I've participated in a number of different mentoring programs at the City of Vancouver. The most recent one has been mentoring immigrant professionals, and that's the one I'll speak about mostly. But nevertheless, I mean, with all mentoring programs, there's real parallels. For example, mentoring, in my experience, is almost never about technical aspects of the job. People come to you with those basic technical skills. What it's about is the culture of the organization. How do things actually get done in the organization? How do people break into an organization when they're looking for a job? That's what mentoring is about. That's what we can really offer. And in terms of immigrant mentoring, as an example, some of the gaps that you see are just how to present yourself through a resume. If you can't present yourself in a resume in the way that people expect, you're not even going to get to an interview. If you get to an interview, how do interviews work here? There's a sort of standard series of questions that we invariably ask, but if you're from a different culture, you don't necessarily know those. And finally, what are some of the specific norms in the workplace? So I just want to talk about resumes very quickly, and again, this is specific about immigrant mentoring, but there are parallels with mentoring other people in your workplace around cultural norms. But if you think of a resume, if we do a job posting, you often get hundreds of applicants. We really don't spend very much time at all weeding through those to get a short list of applicants. And what do we look for in those things? We look for good grammar. We look for people that can sell their skills. We look for people with an understanding of your company. We're very often looking for ourselves and unconsciously then weeding out people that don't necessarily have those skills. Well, think of an immigrant coming into this country. Their language skills might not be what we expect. They may be from a culture where selling yourself is not considered proper in that culture. So these are some of the things where mentoring can really help an individual. Again, not about the technical skills. It's about how can they get in the door to contribute to our economy in the way that they would like to do. Moving on, and this has real parallels with mentoring anybody in your workplace, is about fitting into the organization. Many people that do have the technical skills will fail because they're not familiar with the cultural norms in our workplace. We're looking for collaboration, we're looking for engagement, we're looking in innovation. If you come from a culture or a place where it's much more of a command and control kind of situation, you won't necessarily be able to adapt that well without ongoing mentoring and coaching to help build those skills. And the other area where people can really benefit from mentoring is in developing connections. Over time in an organization, we don't really think about it, but we build up skills and collaboration. We build up a network of people, and simply connecting other people with that network can give them a real boost in their career. So your employers, your employees, the leaders in your organization can help in all these areas. In terms of immigrants, they can review resumes. They can provide feedback on how people are presenting themselves. They can provide feedback on the work culture and how they actually get things done in the organization. Looking at an organization chart as an example to give you guidance on how decisions get made is absolutely the wrong thing to do. As you all know, that's not how things get done. And it takes a certain amount of knowledge of an organization to know how to work through the system and get results. Finally, your employees, your leaders can connect people with colleagues that they may have. As city engineer in Vancouver, I didn't spend a lot of time with structural engineers, with structural consultants, understanding the software that they use and the role of EI engineers in training in their organization. But I know lots of consultants. I can connect people with consultants that can answer those types of questions. So that's another role that people play as mentors. And finally, coaching new employees. When you have new employees, just looking out for them. And what do you get out of this? What does your organization get out of this? What did I get out of this? Because I learned a lot. Even though I was with our organization for 33 years, I learned a lot by mentoring immigrants about the challenges that they face in the community. I gained a real appreciation for the challenges that people have coming into our country, and more appreciation for the diversity that we have in our city and country. Your employees get better collaborative skills. Even if you have people that are good collaborators, they probably don't think what it takes to do that. And just by helping somebody work through that, by articulating it to other people, they gain a deeper understanding themselves of their skills and how to develop their skills more. You do get employees, as Cindy said, who are more engaged in the community, people that understand our diverse community better and have better connections. You gain your employees, yourself, your leaders, you gain better connections with your colleagues in other organizations, and you gain connections just through mentoring people that will be career long as you can continue to stay connected with them. So at the end of the day, this really, really is a win-win-win situation. It's a win for the people that you're mentoring. It's a win for your organization, which develops better leadership skills, deeper understanding, and fundamentally, especially with immigrant mentoring, this is a win for our economic future, because immigration is absolutely fundamental to the economic growth of Vancouver, of the province, and of our country. So to help people contribute in the way that they want to contribute in our society, this is a small step that we can take that pays big dividends. So thank you very much for the opportunity to participate. I'll turn it back to Karen.
Great. Thank you very much, Peter, for that excellent overview of how you, your staff, and the city have benefited from the Mentor Connect mentoring program. I'd like to turn now to our final presenter for today, Opreet Kang, who will talk about an employer mentoring program offered by IEC-BC that you have heard earlier in the presentations. Opreet is the manager of global connections at IEC-BC and brings to her role extensive experience leading multi-stakeholder business and community prospects in the private, non-private, and public sectors in different industries. She graduated from UBC with a Bachelor of Science and brings an extensive background in industry and project management. Opreet, over to you.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you to those that are joining us today to learn more about leadership development through mentoring. Earlier in this webinar, Cindy and Peter shared specific examples of how their respective organizations have recognized mentoring programs as an opportunity for leadership development of their employees and for supporting their organizational strategic goals and imperatives. We also heard about the benefits of mentoring and some of the details of their specific programs. As you heard, there are many options for setting up a mentoring program, and at this time, I would like to share with you information on the IEC-BC Mentor Connect program and how it could potentially be an option for your organization's leadership development through mentoring. I'm also pleased to note that both TELUS and the City of Vancouver are IEC-BC employer partners in the Mentor Connect program, and for that, I thank them both. So what is Mentor Connect? I know Peter and both Cindy noted it earlier, and we'll have an opportunity here to share that with you. IEC-BC's Mentor Connect program is a program that matches job-ready immigrants in BC with a local mentor who provides occupation-specific coaching over a 4-month period. The goal of this mentoring program is not necessarily to end with employment, though of course that is a welcome outcome, but rather to help a new Canadian who comes with a wealth of training and experience learn the nuances and Canadian context of their occupation and industry so that they can enter and succeed in their career path in Canada. Again, just before me, Peter made some really good, gave some good examples of some of the support mechanisms that mentoring can do to help new Canadians succeed. What's in it for the mentor? IEC-BC's Mentor Connect also offers a strong return on participation for our employer partners in furthering the leadership development of their employees that participate as mentors. Some of the leading benefits for mentors are professional development and leadership opportunities, enhancing the workplace coaching skills, insights into business perspectives from around the world, and to contribute to a workplace culture where diversity is celebrated. And really, these items that I've summed up here, again, both Cindy and Peter have done an excellent job of giving examples of how that really played out within their organizations. So at this time, I'd like to just touch on some of the details that are involved in setting up the IEC-BC Mentor Connect program within your organization. So a quick recap is that the Mentor Connect program requires about 24 hours over a 4-month period. So again, that may sound a lot, 4 months, 24 hours. What that works out to be is roughly about an hour and a half every week. And the reason it needs to run over 4 months is because the mentoring really is a relationship, one which builds on the learnings and the interaction from the previous before and sets up for continual improvement and continual understanding of the Canadian context of the occupation. And so for that, a 4-month period is both a tested and good practice around mentoring. What we also do recognize is that as mentors and especially as employer partners, that everyone's busy, and this needs to be a system and a program that is easy to implement in your organization, as well as into the employees' already busy work schedules. So meetings can take place in person, online, or over the phone. And we do encourage multiple ways of interaction, again, to stimulate or simulate workplace environments and how there are multi-ways of collaborating. And again, the program is designed to meet the mentor's schedules as well as the organization's priorities. So in closing, I think what I'd like to do is share with you some of the comments we've received from mentors that have participated in IEC-BC's Mentor Connect program to capture the experience and benefits from their perspective. There's 3 excellent quotes on the screen, so I won't read them directly, but these comments do speak to the value of leadership development through mentoring. The one that I will emphasize is the closing comment where it was noted that the individual felt privileged to be a mentor. If IEC-BC's Mentor Connect program is one that could support your organization's leadership development, I would love the opportunity to share more information with you, and please feel free to contact me. Contact details are noted in this slide and will be shared with you in a follow-up to this webinar. I know there's a lot of people in the poll that we did earlier that had indicated that they did not at present have a mentoring program in their organization. So this could be a great opportunity for you to start a mentoring program. I also understand there are some people joining us from outside BC, and in that case, please feel free to contact me as I could connect you with our network of immigrant employment councils across the country. Thank you very much, and over to you, Karen.
Great. Thank you very much, Opreet, for that presentation. We'll now move into the last 15 minutes of the webinar for Q&A section. And we've received some great questions already. And if you do have any questions as well, further questions, please feel free to type them in the area provided, and we will get to as many as we can today. Peter, we have a question for you. And that question is, what are some of the rewards that you have personally experienced through mentoring?
Well, I mean, the primary reward is connecting with people that you otherwise wouldn't connect with, and being able to help them move on in their career. Oftentimes, you find people are stuck. They're applying for jobs, but they're not getting any kind of response, and just the recognition that we apply for jobs differently in this country than they do in other countries was something new for me. And being able to kind of work through with somebody what they need to do, coach them, ask questions, put them through mock interviews, and then see the results of that when people get jobs and are able to contribute to as fully as they would like to contribute to our country. That it's a huge reward.
Great, thank you, Peter. Opreet, a question for you is, if an organization already has a mentoring program, how could they add the Mentor Connect program to it, or could they add the Mentor Connect program to it?
Thank you, Karen. To start with your sort of last point in terms of could the Mentor Connect program be added to if you have an existing mentoring program? Yes, absolutely it could be. In fact, in that scenario, you actually have both a culture and an environment where everyone is already primed for mentoring. Therefore, it would be actually an enhancement to the existing mentoring programs to allow and recognize that there may be different interests of your employees. There may be a lot of employees that are really interested in connecting with new immigrants. So this would be an excellent opportunity for them to really focus where their mentoring activities are. So again, improving the engagement and interest of your employees. And in those cases where there isn't a mentoring program, I think, Cindy gave some really excellent examples earlier in terms of what conditions can be in place in terms of to have people primed to deliver a mentoring program in their organization.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Opreet. We have another question for Peter, and that is, can you tell us a story of one of the people that you have mentored?
I can. As a gentleman that worked largely in Dubai as a project manager on major building construction. Came here, and his story was the same as many immigrants. He came here so his family could have a better life, and sacrificed pretty much everything he had to make that happen. But he wanted to get back into the construction industry here, and well, you know, I'm familiar with city construction. I'm not that familiar with building construction and how it works. But as I said before, I do know developers, and so I connected him with one of the major developers in town who was able to talk to him a little bit about what they were looking for and what the role of a project manager is here, because it's different than from where he came from. And subsequently, he got a job at BC Hydro. At its entry level kind of thing, and rapidly moved up through the organization over the last year. And I've actually had several conversations with him since around what I was talking about before about the culture of the organization and how management and collaboration here are a little bit different than from where he came from, because he needed some follow-up guidance on that. But he's doing very, very well now. And again, you know, it wasn't any great hardship for me to provide that insight for him, but it has made a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Cindy, another question for you is, how did you convince senior executives to support the mentorship program? And you spoke about an executive sponsor. And how did that happen where you were able to get the support of that executive sponsor?
Hi, thanks for that question. It certainly did take us a while to find the right person, and it was really that the momentum that we had started to get with Mosaic as an employee resource group, and we came across one of our senior vice presidents who had a similar story, was an immigrant to Canada, and could really relate to Mosaic, and he has just taken us under his wing and really helped us and propelled us to really think strategically about our programs and integrate that within TELUS and within the other senior leaders. So it was really finding the right person. So what is your vision of your, whether it be just a mentorship program or an employee resource group, and finding that right connection, and then everything will usually just falls into place.
Great, thank you, Cindy. Opreet, a question about the mentorship program at IEC-BC. How do you know that mentees that you're going to match with individuals from an organization, how do you know that they're job ready?
Excellent question. Thank you. So what I did not include in this is simply due to time, was that we work with immigrant serving organizations, so our service delivery partners. And just as we partner with our employer partners to bring in the mentors, we partner with them to bring on the mentee side of the equation, if you will. And the reason for that is because they're experts in that area, as well as experts in ensuring that, quote unquote, the basics are taking into consideration. So they really are our quality assurance, if you will, those partners of our service delivery partners. And absolutely, I mean, part of that goal is to ensure that they are that new Canadian is job ready. And the reason for that is that, some of the basics around resume, et cetera, are taken care of, so that by the time a mentee is connecting with their mentor, they really can focus on those sort of higher level or specific areas of understanding the Canadian context. To Peter's point earlier of, how is an interview done, or even how that workplace is conducted, which is not only going to be specific, in the broader Canadian context, but then also to drill down within that industry, within that occupation. So yeah, that was an excellent question. Thank you.
And Cindy, another question for you. You spoke about how the mentoring program helped to build the brand of TELUS. Can you speak a bit more about that for organizations that are considering looking at a mentoring program and the advantages to promoting your organization as a great place to work or other benefits that relate to brand enhancement?
Sure, thanks. That's a great question. As we were building I think when we look inclusively at our Diversity and Inclusiveness Council, we of course have a variety of different initiatives because we are a very diverse company. The Mosaic piece, I think, has really, in my eyes, it might be biased, but we've really risen to the top because we've been able to launch a program and a mentorship program nationally across 5 cities, and it really is driving awareness in the community, the new Canadians, both external to TELUS as well as our own internal diversity of new Canadians, and showing the programs of how we're working with the mentorship program, how we're building the mentorship program internally to help to build and develop our team members, which also leads to the retention and engagement of our team members. And those are all pieces that really help to show why TELUS is an employer of choice and why we are so diverse and inclusive internally within TELUS. And I think that speaks volumes to our brand, as I mentioned, giving back to our communities and inspiring our team members to do the best they can.
Thank you. A final question. We have time for just a couple more questions. Opreet, a question has come in about asking if my organization were interested in your Mentoring Connect program, what would the process be?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the first step would be to contact me. But from there, though we have a turnkey operation, if you will, like we've already have a tested model and materials available that could really be implemented the very next day. What we do recognize here at IEC-BC is that in order for any program or any of our work to be truly impactful is to ensure that it aligns and fits with the organization's goals and culture. And so we really do look for that leadership and direction. As Cindy noted earlier, that an executive sponsor is so important. So we would be connecting with that individual to get an understanding of, how can we provide the training and support to the mentors within the organization, what's the best timing, and all of those things. So we do have a program that is ready to get operationalized the very next day. But before that, we really do work with each individual organization to ensure that we set it up for success within that organization. And that really starts with that first email, that first call, and we go from there.
Okay, last question is for Peter. And Peter, the question is my organization is small to mid-size and not a large organization like the City of Vancouver or TELUS. And do you have any advice you could give to me about our organization about how we might implement a mentoring program like you have?
Well, for sure you can implement a program. There's some fundamentals around mentoring, particularly for existing employees, that it has to be absolutely confidential, number one. Number two, the mentor does not take direct action to kind of correct any issues with other employees. The relationship is about providing coaching and providing advice. So in a small organization, you have to really make sure that you can maintain that kind of confidentiality and coaching relationship. Like a current supervisor can't effectively be a mentor to someone because they need to have an opportunity to discuss issues that are challenges that they might be having in that work group. So you really have to think about setting up those kinds of relationships and maintaining that confidentiality, but it can generally be done.
Great. Thank you, Peter. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you have a question that we haven't been able to get to, you can email us at communications@iecbc.ca or get in touch with us directly. On behalf of the audience and IEC-BC, I'd like to thank Cindy Laporte, Peter Judd and Opreet Kang for providing us with an insightful overview of how mentoring is a cost-effective solution for leadership development and talent acquisition in an organization.